Free Alabama movement, continuing with our video series inside the St. Clair Correctional Facility as we record this documentary profiling the inhumane and unconstitutional living conditions inside Alabama's Department of Corrections. We also continue to develop strategies for economic policies of empowerment for prisoners, and we also review sentencing and parole reform as it affects people's current sentence and future sentences, the amount of time they serve in prison, the conditions that we serve time under, and issues affecting reentry and preparedness to go back into society. We'll continue with the interview we started earlier with myself, Antoine Liston, and Warren Gunn. We'll also be adding Bruce Hill to the interview series. That's Bruce Hill right there. He's a pro se litigant, very active inside of prison, filed multiple civil lawsuits dealing with the conditions of confinement, harassment by police officers, the constitutional rights of prisoners, and just continue to be an activist inside of prison as we continue to try to educate the courts and society about the conditions that we live up under. Okay, we're going to go back to Mr. Gunn for a second and continue the interview series. Mr. Gunn, earlier you were telling us about the fact that you're about to be released from prison, and you were saying that you hadn't been prepared for release, and you were honest about that in the 3 times you've been to prison. So just speak to some of the things that you've been incarcerated for in the past, the crime that you're incarcerated for right now, and just some of the things relative to rehabilitation that you haven't received.
Well, I got a previous history of robbery first, but I normally come to prison for everything.
Okay.
Rob first and attempted murders and stuff.
Okay.
Last time I had did like 10 years. I got out unprepared. I went out there in the society without any planning and no thing. I returned less than a year.
Okay, so so when you did the 10 years, did you have a 10-year sentence or did you make parole?
I had a 3-year sentence, actually.
Oh, you had a 3-year, you had a split sentence?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did the split, and after you completed the split?
No, they took my split.
Okay, so you had, what was your original sentence?
3 years.
3 years?
Mandatory.
Okay. And you violated in the course of serving that?
Yeah.
And you ended up doing what?
10 years.
A full 10-year sentence?
Yeah.
During the course of serving that 10-year sentence, was it mandatory that you get a GED or mandatory that you get a skill or trade, anything like that?
I had got a GED and got 3 trades.
Okay, what about life skills? Did you get anything like that as far as preparing you to go back out there? How old were you when you first caught your case?
Like 18.
18 years old?
Yeah.
So you got out of prison and you caught another criminal case and you came back to prison?
Came right back.
Okay, and so what were the circumstances about that?
I got out and caught a robbery case, came back to that, and some gun cases and stuff, felony case.
Okay.
I ended up getting a no deal back on one robbery. But I beat the federal case at trial.
All right.
And I ended up getting life without in this case, 2 of them.
Okay.
And I was fortunate enough to get that case overturned.
Okay.
They ain't had no evidence anyway.
Okay.
They just seen out the black man in the all-white county and conviction.
Okay.
Got any evidence.
Okay. And so you got out from that and now you back again for a 3rd time.
No, I never got out.
Okay, so you fixing to get out now.
I got my sentence reduced from life without the 15.
Okay.
Good time.
Okay, so when do you EOS that?
2015.
Okay. Conditions for earning good time, does it involve anything about rehabilitation class, anything? Do you have to do anything to earn good time or just have a sentence that fits within the structure of good time?
Fit within the structure.
Okay, so, and you said that you don't feel like you received any type of rehabilitation.
I know I haven't.
You know you haven't. So you know it's a chance when you get back out there
Come right back.
there's a possibility. Yeah, and how does that, I mean, in knowing that, being a black man, you've been to prison 3 times, how does that make you feel knowing that you're going to be released into a society that you're not prepared for?
Scared. They just kill my brother. And, when I get out, I probably don't have my mama there. She dying. I might be out there alone by myself. Might end up home, anything. Got nobody to help me when I get out.
Right. Okay. So they don't help you as far as finding places to go, people who help you, just get your feet when you coming back. They don't have a platform for that.
The only thing the parole lady told me is make sure I pay them $40 a month. So they directed me into some good class, and then like
They just want the money. So it's just a money scheme. They hold you in prison. It's about the money, and then when they let you out, that's all it is about the money. Okay. I'm gonna go to Mr. Lipson for a minute. I'm gonna come back to you in just a second.
Okay.
How you doing today, Twan?
Good morning, everybody. We've been trying to get this out, get the message out there. Everybody know we're trying to free ourselves, free Alabama moving. That's what it's about. We're just telling the story about how we live in inhumane conditions under prejudicial prosecution, all types of things.
Yeah.
But currently, right now, we're trying to point out the fact that the condition of our living is so bad, so messed up. It's not conducive to trying to make a change as far as learning more and experiencing better ways, and learning better ways to live. They don't provide that. This is like a society, a village society, and this society is totally based on ignorance and hostility. You know, there's a lot of misdiagnosed mental cases in prison that should be having medical care, mental health.
True that.
It's not available in prison.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So when you inside a prison, I mean, you've been to college before. You come from a good background. Tell them a little bit about your background, your mom and pop.
My dad did 20 years now, I'm correct.
Okay.
My mom, she was a teenager when I was born. She's single parent. She worked. She's a college graduate, master's degree.
Okay.
But at the same time, those influences were good, and then I had influences outside my family. You know, that's some things that led me to prison. Things that happened outside my household, not my household being a bad place. There's a lot of people that come from those environments that I had a stable home.
Okay. And
I wasn't secure there. That's why I lived into the street. You feel? I didn't understand what having a good home was. I was a child.
Right.
I'm just exposed to the world, to my surroundings, when everything goes, you know. And it led me to prison. From a child, I took chances and things that normal person was scared of. I would try. You know, because it was normal life, being around those kind of type things. I'm in prison right now, so I'm without for murder.
So even though you came from that environment, you still had some degree of success because you made it to college. You know what I'm saying?
I know success is true. One day changed my life forever. You know, one mistake, one wrong move may change my life forever. I've done many great things as far as a young man trying to prosper. Like I've strived and I've done those things. You know, my greatest downfall is coming to prison for murder, killing another man. And that's not defining my life.
Right.
That's
but they want to define you by it. The situation, circumstances of that day, they want to define you by that. I know you're working on your case. You're trying to get back in the court. There's some issues with that. But how old were you when you got the life without parole sentence?
I was 24 years old.
24 years old, college educated, high school graduate.
You know,
and you
in college at the time, you know. I was a business owner. I was working every day. It wasn't like I was just a known criminal, just a daily criminal. No. And one day I was involved in criminal activity, and a situation occurred. You know. But at the same time, those things that occurred because of things that happened throughout my life. That one day was shaped by the days of my life before that day, you know.
So, I mean, the first time you get in trouble, and you were charged with a capital murder, right? And it was only one victim. And the circumstance, the reason why it was capital is because this person was a law enforcement official. So you didn't target a law enforcement official. It just so happened that you crossed paths with someone who was in law enforcement, and they basically sought the death penalty against you for that. So how did it feel? I mean, your first time dealing with the adult system, and these people are saying, well, it's your unlucky day. You killed the wrong somebody. We want to kill you in return.
They never proved I killed anybody. I never said that I killed anybody. Any of those things. The proof of my case was, they say circumstantial saying that I had a probability of being in the area on the crime scene. They never proved, or even they charged an indictment form with that commission of murder because there's a dead body. They know this man was killed. They know how he was killed. So they charged me directly with the murder, and they don't know how it happened, why it happened, or when. You know.
And you worked in the law library. You read transcripts, so you know how it works. You know what I'm saying? And now that you got this life without parole, you're not even afforded an opportunity to complete college, even though you've shown that you have the ability to, you know, function on that level. So the deprivation of opportunity for further rehabilitation, for further development, and knowing that this was a one-time incident, how does that make you feel? I mean,
that situation right there was so sad because you around so many young guys that had never had the knowledge of how to live or how the things that life about. And being seeing things and having knowledge of other things, it hurts me because people that I know, you know, and that motivated us though. Because deep down inside we wanted to succeed, we wanted to overcome this. So we took upon ourselves and created a safe environment, created communities and violence. Right. We was against the rape, the robbery, even the gang bangers. We was gang bangers, you know. Yeah. We changed our hearts and our minds, and we tried to spread that like wildfire, and it did. We took over the prison.
peacefully. Yeah, they should. That's one of the first things that Davenport did when he got here, because I was over the education department at the time, and I was running the GED program. I had over 100 students in my GED class, all gang related, all young guys. Most of them had life without parole, life sentences, and had violent histories, and these are the men that we embrace, because we understand that these people are capable of making changes. What we also understand is that there's no opportunity for them to make changes inside the system. So like Twan's talking about, Lil Mike is talking about, we created these opportunities, you know. We beat the concrete, we found sponsors, we found people donate supplies, donate books, you know what I'm saying, come up here.
We intervene between knife fights, we've done all those.
On a daily basis.
Things that the police don't do, but they get paid to do, and what they stay down in Montgomery, what they supposed to do.
But they got J&K under them over there. You can't even get in the block if you're a violent criminal. And they just leave it to us to deal with, but then the things that we're trying to do to help people, to make people better, we can't get no support from the administration.
That's why we take it upon ourselves, you know. And everything that we did, take steps forward in a positive direction, they put up roadblocks every step of the way.
Right.
You know, the administration, there was a few administrators that was supported us, and they was outcast. Most of them guys ended up getting skipped away from here because of helping inmates.
That's right.
The whole time, a correctional officer is supposed to be accountable to an inmate at all times. When any study, anything dealing with life and prison life, that don't exist. There's a police officer, there's a correctional officer, then there's inmates, and there's a big gap. It's like it's us against them, and then there's a hate, and there's an envy. Right.
And the powers that be, the higher up, they play off of that. You know what I'm saying? They want them to understand that if you want to keep this job, you can't be making friends. You can't be trying to counsel these guys. You can't be trying to help them deal with their problems. You just wait till something happens, and you pull out your stick and bust somebody's head.
There's an unknown system within the system of the Department of Corrections where you maintain an inmate in prison, and you create the longevity of job security. Those rules, disciplinary citations, the things that they implement, the rules they implement, the way they give them the open reign to just write you up and charge you with a crime. A disciplinary is really a crime on the street. Right. And in prison, that disciplinary can be used to hold it in prison 15, 20 years when you not even formally charged or been judged correctly. The whole system is improper. It's prejudicial. There's no fair shake for nothing when you have a charging officer involved over the judicial part.
Yeah, he's making the decisions on what he's charging.
He's making the judgment on charge, and nobody, the police there, but the police. You know, and our mission here is to get these things exposed and out to the world.
Right.
And God made a way we're able to do this. You know, and we need everybody to understand that the people that are in prison, your sons, your fathers, your brothers, your cousins, you know, these are people, your sisters, this woman down at Tulsa, they go through the same thing. Every family is affected by crime, drugs, all these things are part of life. But the way these punishments are implemented, that's where the wrong is.
Right.
You know, there's a wrong for committing a crime, too. But there's a wrong for the way.
There's a wrong in the way that you try to go about. The wrong is that you got a system that on the face is saying we about corrections, but the reality is there's no corrections involved.
And that's the reason why I'm willing to put my face up and put my voice out there for the Free Alabama movement. I understand that this is the only thing, this is the only way we're going to make it happen for us, by us.
We got to do it again.
We got to do it. And as you can hear, all of them come from different backgrounds. Some will come from rougher backgrounds, some will come from educated backgrounds, some will come from spiritual background, but we all here, and we live under conditions, man, that's inhumane.
Yeah, I mean, you can look and see, this is just a typical cell where you can see all the dirt on the walls, graffiti and whatnot, all the different things. You can see paint chips, you know what I'm saying, the rust, you know, lack of ventilation. These guys, he got holes in the wall, but he's got some tissue stopped up in the hole to keep the air and the roaches out. You know what I'm saying? You got the same thing right here up at this one. We have to stuff these holes because, you know, you can see the crack that runs all the way down this wall right here. This is a seam. This is a crack runs all the way down the wall. And this is just how we live. You know, the paint is chipping inside of the cell right there. You know, these things are just, these are not the norm. This is not the way. The vents got so much rust in them. We got plenty of those.